Hey guys, just to start this off, I want to put a disclaimer out there that there really is no such thing as PvP BIS. There are a lot of factors that go into what you should wear, and there are a lot of lists out there that are theoretical BIS, and we'll go over those. But when it comes down to it, it really depends on what is available to you, what your playstyle is, what your team composition is. So there's a lot of factors that can decide what is best for you. And that being said, what I think is most important for people to understand is what are the certain thresholds that they're looking for while gearing. So if you look on the left side of my screen, you'll see a couple stats. The most important one here is at the top, 164 hit rating. You want at least 164 hit rating because that will put you at the melee hit cap for PvP, while at the same time it'll put you at around 6% spell hit. In PvP, the spell hit cap is 4%, but there are racials and talents that can basically increase your chance to miss. And by going over the spell hit cap a little bit, it will also decrease your chance to miss on those people. Most notably rogues, ret paladins, and then there's night elves, taurens, and blood elves all have a racial that make you more likely to miss. For spell penetration, this is really only important versus druids and mages. If you're playing with the priest, your priest could dispel the Mark of the Wild, but if not, you'll want 75 spell pen to go through the improved Mark of the Wild, and then mages have 135 spell pen mages have 135 increased resistances from their talents. The best way to get spell penetration is through enchants and gems. Most notably, the back piece. You can put 20 spell penetration on your back piece, and then the way that you would want to gem spell pen in phase 2 is usually recommended to have 2 versions of your weapon, one with resil gems and then one with spell penetration gems. And then if you're up against a mage or a druid or someone that you need spell penetration against, then you can hot swap the weapon. So that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the gear. All right, so I think the best way to sort of start this off is looking at the 2 BIS lists that I've seen floating around, one off of Wowhead, one off of the Druid Discord, and sort of compare them, see where they're the same and see where they're different, and talk about why those differences are there most likely. So first and foremost is the 4-piece PvP set. This is mandatory in any feral PvP gearing because it's 15% movement speed, and 15% movement speed is more valuable than any sort of stat could be. So they all get the helm, the shoulders, the chest, and the hands, and the reason they do those 4 is just because the pants off of hard mode Yogg-Saron are the best PvE piece that we can wear out of the 4 or 5 spots that are available for the PvP gear. Now, besides that, they also both get this neck piece, which is off of 10-man Freya, the hard mode version. And then they also get the back piece, which is off of the 10-man General Vezex, also hard mode. That'll be a common theme here. Almost everything is from hard mode for PvE gear. So then there's also the 10-man XT bracers, hard mode. They both wear the PvP belt and the PvP boots. They both wear the 25-man version of the Algoan quest ring. So Algoan drops a quest item, kind of like Sapphiron did, that can be turned in for a ring. And then they both wear the PvP trinket. Now, where they differ, if we go to the Druid Discord BIS list, is in a couple slots. One is the weapon. This isn't really that important because you can swap weapons in the middle of an arena match. So if you had both, if you got Dreambinder off of Algoan 25-man, bring it to the arena. There's no downside. If you wanted to, you could just swap to the PvP version if you needed more resil. The other place they differ is in the ring slot. The Druid Discord version kind of goes for the hit on the ring, and that's because in the Druid Discord BIS list, they're going a lot more for armor penetration. And due to their focus on armor penetration, they really want the Rune Stone, which has that big armor penetration proc. Along with that, that's why they kind of have the Dreambinder and some gems. You'll notice they have some armor penetration gems, but another difference that they take is they go 5 into the Ferocious Bite talent, which I currently am not getting. This is just for big Ferocious Bites. With all that armor penetration, you see they're at 438. If Runestone procced, they would have, I don't know the exact math on the armor penetration, but it's got to be ginormous, I would guess. And those bites would be huge. So this is kind of a Ferocious Bite focus build. I think the downsides of a build like this is that until you get more armor pen, it's not really worth, just throw, if you got a Runestone and you threw it on, but you didn't have the armor pen rings, you didn't have Dreambinder, you didn't have the armor pen cloak off of Vezex, it's just not going to help you nearly as much, since armor penetration is a stat that scales more the more you have it. So early on, it's just not that worth. With the Wowhead version, the difference is they don't get the ring with hit on it. Instead, they go with the 10-man Algoan quest ring. So same thing as I talked about earlier, 10-man version though. Algoan will drop a quest item. If you turn it in, you can get that ring. The reason they do that is because they're going with the Pyrite Infuser, which simply drops off of 10-man normal Flame of Leviathan. So this item is extremely attainable. Normal Flame of Leviathan is one of the easiest bosses in the game, and it's off of 10-man. So the reason they do that is for two reasons, basically. One, it's an easy way for them to get that 100 hit rating. And two, the proc chance of 1300 attack power is still very good for snapshotting our rips. So our bleeds, right? So this build is less focused on Ferocious Bite. It's still kind of focused on those big procs and getting a big rip. While the Druid Discord version is focused more on Ferocious Bites. Now, that being said, until you are killing all these hard mode 10-mans or, even being lucky and seeing the drops, you might not have access to, especially Algoan rings, things of that nature. So what I'm going to show you next is kind of what I think is a more attainable version of what you can wear early on in Phase 2 PvP. Okay, so now that we kind of looked at some end of phase BIS lists, let's start off with something that I think is much more attainable. Like I talked about earlier, not only do you need to find people that can kill those bosses, those hard mode bosses, but you also need the items that you want to drop, and then you need to win them. So I have a little set here that doesn't require any PvE gear. The only thing that's not from PvP is the Dark Moon card Greatness, which you can buy. It's pretty similar to our Phase 1 set, just instead of deadly stuff, it has Furious. The only real swap is that instead of another hit ring like SNR, Surge Needle ring, what I've done is I've put in some hit gems. So I got a hit gem in the glove, I got a hit an Agi gem in the pants, and then I have a hit gem in the chest. What is most important, as I kind of talked about in the beginning, is hitting that 5% hit chance, and then you really don't want to go over that. Any hit rating past that is pretty much a wasted stat line. That being said, there are a ton of ways to balance your hit out when you swap out items. The easiest in my mind is through gems. And then there's also the boot enchant, which I think is the most valuable of the boot enchants, and that's the Ice Walker one because it's 12 hit and it's 12 crit. So looking at this now, you might be saying, okay, that's an attainable set, but let's say I do kill XT hard mode, right? And I do get the bracers. Now I'm 52 hit rating over, let's throw a resilience gem in here. So now I'm way over the hit rating. An easy way to change that is to just swap out the victory pieces. If you keep getting honor, I know myself, I like to do the daily BG and the random every single day to try to get those extra 50 arena points per day. So you should be getting static honor all the time. So hopefully as the season goes on, you just have excess honor. What you can do is you can buy the other furious pieces, right? So I swap out the neck and now I'm at 5.3. And then if I just swapped out probably this for like another resilience gem, that would put me pretty close, right? So there's a lot of ways to balance. I think the most important thing is looking at these victory pieces, especially the cloak and the neck, because you can basically have the same exact item just with or without the hit. So swapping these out for when you get hit pieces is very good. The biggest jump in hit you'll probably get is if you get the either the Pyrite Infuser, which is what we saw in the Wowhead BIS, drops off of normal Flame of Leviathan 10-man, or Blood of the Old God, which drops off normal 25-man Yogg. Both of these have a ton of hit rating and a chance on melee or ranged critical strike to increase your attack power, which are both very good for snapshotting your rips. So let's just hit the Pyrite Infuser and see what happens to our hit rating. So now we're at 8%. So we really want to drop some hit. First things we can do again is definitely swap out gems to resilience gems. That's super easy. And then the next thing we can do is change that back piece that we still have on hit to the Triumph version. Now we're at 5.79. And then probably the last thing I would do is get rid of this 213 ring. There's a lot of options on the rings. Some of them are hard, like this is off of 25-man Algoan, 10-man Algoan. This is 10-man Algoan. And then this one right here, Cinder Shard, is off of regular 25-man Ignis. So this is an extremely attainable ring, but if we're looking for something without the hit on it, it's probably going to be Loop of the Agile off of 10-man hard mode. So if you got that, you could swap that in and then maybe put the Ice Walker on your boots, and suddenly now look, you're at exactly the 5% hit. And the only sort of PvE items you have are 10-man normal Flame of Leviathan, 10-man XT hard mode, which these could be hard, but you could get Freya 10-man hard mode, I think might even be easier. So that's 36 hit rating right there, which you could swap out. If you didn't have these, you would just wear the PvP bracers. You could put this on, and then maybe just throw in a hit gem here. And then suddenly you'd be back at exactly 5%, right? We'll just throw a Mystic. The whole idea, I think, is the most important stat here is to always be balancing out your hit. As long as you're wearing a ton of PvP gear, your resilience should be well above that threshold. It's only when you start to get some of those PvE pieces that it will really start to drop your resil. One nice thing is the pants here. Neither these pants nor the Yogg 25-man hard mode pants have any hit rating. So things that either have similar hit rating amounts or don't have any hit rating at all are easy one-for-one swaps. So another example is, let's say you had that Deadly Victory band on, right? And then you did normal Ignis and this dropped. They both have similar amounts of hit rating, so it's a very little change in your in your hit rating balance when you swap to that ring. I'll link all of these sets below, guys. Go ahead and put any questions you have in the comments, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one.